Well, buying a home, it can be fun, it can be rewarding as well, but there are many things you need to be aware of during the process.
For instance, fraud. So what exactly should you be on the lookout for?
Now, we're getting the answers today from Troy Trum of Keller Williams Realty. Good to see you, Troy.
Good to see
excited
you.
to be here.
Thanks for coming
Welcome
in.
back.
No, yeah, it's good to see you. As a buyer, you know, there are a lot of people out there thinking about buying homes right now. There's a lot of people out there doing that. What type of fraud does somebody need to be aware about if you're looking to purchase a home?
Well, as a home buyer, the most common type of fraud targeting them is wire fraud. This usually starts where a hacker gets into the buyer's email account, gets information on their upcoming home purchase, including the address, the closing date, and which title company is handling the closing. Then they'll send the buyer an email impersonating an employee of the title company, giving them instructions on where to wire their down payment on closing day. Now, if they follow those instructions, they're wiring their money to the hacker's email account, not to the title company.
Oh my God, this is
This
happening?
is so
Yep.
sketchy.
Yeah, last year, over $1 billion was stolen through wire fraud committed during real estate transactions.
I didn't even know that it was prevalent during real estate transactions. So for someone that wants to buy a home, how can they avoid this happening to them?
Well, first, buyers need to scrutinize any emails they receive about their real estate transaction. The fake emails will look legitimate, but often there'll be a slight difference in the email address. For example, if title company emails normally come from an email address at abctitle.com, the fake ones might come from abctitle.net. Most people won't catch that difference.
Yeah.
Next is you should never accept wire instructions via email. Always get them in person from the title company. If you do receive an email with wire instructions in it, contact the title company, but don't call the number in the email. Many of these criminals are very sophisticated. They'll set up a local phone number, they'll include it in the email, and then when someone calls that number, they'll answer as if they're the title company.
It's crazy the extent to which this is at now. The fact that this is all happening.
Yeah, and you got to watch your back every step of the way. Are there other areas or other points during that transaction of purchasing a home that you need to watch out for fraud?
There are. For example, a scam that some movers pull is that after loading a person's belongings onto their truck, but before the truck arrives at the new house, they'll call the customer and tell them that the cost of the move is going to be higher than expected. Now, if the customer doesn't agree to the new price, they'll hold their belongings in storage until payment is made. Now, often these movers, what they do up front is they'll give a bid for the move either online or over the phone without seeing how much there is to move. And then once they've loaded everything up on moving day, they'll let the customer know that the customer underestimated how much there was to move, and therefore their fee needs to be increased. To avoid this, always get a bid from moving companies in person after they see how much there is to move, and then also get multiple bids. If you get a bid that seems lower than expected, avoid that company. That's one of the ways these movers will lure people into hiring them. And another thing to look out for on moving day is the mover should show up in a company truck with the company name on it. If they show up in a rented truck, that's a red flag that something suspicious is going on.
Exactly, yeah, a big red flag.
Yeah, incredible information today. Now let's talk about being the homeowner. So what type of fraud should you be on the lookout for if you're a homeowner?
Well, as a homeowner, the most likely type of fraud that's going to be committed against a homeowner is equity theft. This is where someone claims to be the owner of the home and takes out a loan in their name against the property. For example, Mike, if somebody got your personal information, they could claim to be you, take out a home equity loan against your home and pocket that money, and you wouldn't know about it until the lender sends you a notice that you failed to make a payment on your new line of credit.
At that point, I'm responsible to make those payments in.
Well, you're going to have to dispute it,
Sure.
which can be tough to do. The best way to avoid this is put a lock on your credit report with the credit bureaus. This will prevent any loans being taken out in your name without you knowing about them. And another similar type of fraud is title theft. This is where a criminal will forge a real estate transfer statement, file it with the county in order to take title of someone else's property into their name. Then they'll either refinance the property to cash out the equity, or they'll sell the property out from under the owner.
So we've touched on fraud for buyers. We've touched on fraud for sellers. And now how about people that
like
don't
me?
have any ownership interest,
Yeah,
right?
people like
they're
me.
just maybe renting.
Yeah.
Do they have to be worried about anything?
They do. The most common type of fraud against renters is to advertise a home for rent that is owned by somebody else. What will happen is a criminal will go online, find photos of vacant property, and then post those photos in an ad on either Craigslist or another website, advertising the home for rent for much less than what someone would expect to pay to rent it. And then when someone inquires about renting the property, the owner tells them they live out of state or out of country, and that to rent the property, all they need to do is wire them the security deposit and first month's rent, and the owner will either mail them the keys or give them the garage door code so they can move in. To avoid this hoax, always meet an owner or property manager at a property, review a lease before paying any money.
I didn't really think about that.
I didn't think about any of this. This is insane.
know, it's
but what
enlightening.
fantastic information this morning. I mean,
Yeah.
really, that's great.
For more information, TrumTeam.com, that's the website that you can go to. Troy's available to answer all types of questions. He's helping buyers and sellers all the time. 402-884-4848. Good information today,
Yes,
Troy.
thank you, Troy.
Glad to
Thanks
be
for the
here.
info.